let's begin this from the middle. So this door has the master locks. It's got the main gearbox and lock in it. I'm getting a bit desperate. I'm considering taking this apart to make my locking mechanism for my doors. It might bear fruit. We'll see. I went off on a mad one on Facebook and got another winch. This is the larger gear from the one I had previously and the smaller gear from the new one. I've just gone and turned down. So what we've got so far is this is going to be the idler gear. So just free spinning to transfer drive into, where is it? That one. So this one I figured I'm going to tuck in like that into the system, and then that gear there. A little bit of bodgery with some I-beam sections. I need to build a housing for the gearbox, for the hand winch gearbox. So all I did, well, two of these bits of, I suppose they're about 6mm. Yeah, about 6mm. Plate together and proceed to line everything up by eye. So if this actually works, I will be amazed. So as a bit of a cheat, I'm going to use some long bolts as sort of standoffs to give me the spacing that I need between the layers. I just want to get this all put together and see how it turns once the top plate's on. I think everything's clearing everything else. Yeah, appears to be. Considering the amount of time I'm spending on doing this and the extreme length I'm going to, I really can't leave this just spaced out with nuts, can I? So, plug welded them. I also welded the output shaft now. So let's see how it runs now everything is getting a bit closer to being done. Finish that up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is day 3. But 3 days bloody doing this lock. I think it's done now. This is what I've come up with. I imagine there's going to be clips before this in the video of various stages. So this is the lock. The gearbox is a 10:1 reduction. It's sprung for the lock. I've put a combination type mortise lock on here that I went and made my own key for and my own plates, because, well, why not, basically. So this has now got to be stripped down. This back plate will be welded to this door on the inside. Why did I start this? So the first job is going to be stripping this down. Yay me! too much trouble? What the fuck was I thinking? Never mind. Right, hand wheel. Final drive gear, idler gear, input gear. So 2 sleeves, one's for the hand wheel to go to the drive wheel. That's a sleeve to cover it. Screws, spiral pins, springs. The front plate has got the mortise lock on it. Back plate, I made up some standoffs, welded them in, tapped them all out. This is the drive gear for operating the arms for the locks. There's why I call it a wrist breaker. To make up the final actual arms, pin them on and then go round, Loctite all the screws on this door, and that'll be this door done, along with the master locking system. And all I've got left to do then is the slave on the upper door. Sweet. So like a bit of an idiot, I just wired all this and done all my test fits. I hadn't hit record on the Dewberry, on the camera. So anyway, this is it now. This is how it's going to be. It's fully wired all the way around, so it's not coming off the door. If I've made a mistake, then I'm going to have to live with it. Don't think I've made a mistake. Or at least probably not too many mistakes. This is it now, the doors are done. I've begun painting them, but I wanted to add one final thing, and that is this. It's got a groove cut into it. It's going to slide over the hand wheels shaft type thing. So yeah, I'm just going to weld that on quickly and then I can get back to painting again. This was just something that popped into my head a minute ago and I thought, oh, thinking about it, that might be a good idea to get that done. So yeah, let's just bring it back over. Arms operator 2, master, where'd it go? Cams, so that's the linkage for this door. My plasma cutting in all that great. There's excuse me, there's some variations in that, and also I don't know if I can do it so you can see that sort of cut a bit of a taper into it. So I'm gonna centre drill all these and then put them in the lathe. See, I'm not really a fan of plasma cutting, mainly because I'm not steady enough and my plasma cutting isn't good enough. And I don't particularly like sticking stuff onto the lathe or onto the mill to have to turn down like the hardened edge of the bloody metal. So I very rarely use my plasma cutter, but if I had a CNC plasma table, then that would make it, you know, so easy, because everything would be the size and perfectly usable straight off of the machine. But a friend of mine gave me some inserts which I'm using now. They're specifically done for turning like hardened steels. It's a bit sparky, you know, a bit sketchy I suppose, but it works. So as I was making, excuse me, as I was making these, I drilled 3 holes at 90-degree spacings, so you know 0, 90 and 180 degrees. Once I'd put everything together, it turned out that the hole that would be used for the push rods was actually better off slightly further around. So instead of say 180, around about 210, 220 degrees, it just helped the mechanism work a lot smoother. These are some little 4mm thick plates, basically. What I've got to do now is pretty much cut them up into some dog legs with 4 holes in each, well 2 holes in each. 4 inch. As I said, my plasma cutting isn't very good, so I thought the easiest way to batch these out and produce them so as they all ended up relatively identical was to use the chop saw and just sort of splice through them on that to a certain depth and then part them all off. What? Can you get my phone? 2 seconds, mate. Gotta love my kids, always interrupting. So it came off a saw like. What I now need to do is part them across there. So to get access to this, I'm just gonna bend the leg over. So I was thinking, if I drill holes through the doors into the frames and then weld a bit of this 20mm internal diameter pipe into it as sort of a guide bush, and then somewhere over here I've got a length of this 25mm solid round to make the actual bolts out of. Say 3 inches bush, because that leaves me an inch inside to sort of play with. That's what she said. And then if I cut the bolts 6 inches long, turn down 5 of the 6 inches, and then leave 1 inch as is and machine 2 flats onto it, cross drill it, then I should be able to put the bolts through that. Yeah, it should work. We'll try that. And the last two need to be 4 inches. On this door, I've got slave cam bolts. They're activated by the bolts in the other door pushing on this bolt and then activating and moving the bolt upwards. So just quickly boring out the inside of those tubes to 22mm. Firstly, I wanted to remove the wound, and secondly, obviously, I wanted to go with a larger bolt as possible. Everything I'm doing, it was sort of done on the fly. Like as I was making this, I was coming up with whatever I was doing. There was no plan really involved in this, other than, hey, I wanted bolts on my door, a bit like an old style safe. So this is one of those times when I think it would be really nice to have a different iteration of my milling machine, because this is the manual gearbox, sort of, it's got cross feed on it, but there was one that was auto cycling, so I think it was a lot like a surface grinder, which would have been nice for this, because it took me ages doing all these. Just chunk 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 chunk. I've done a little sanity check a minute ago, well, half hour ago, before I thought I'd start drilling. So this, so as you can see, so this will be the door that's, well, that side of you. So bolts for it. At the minute it's just set up on a bit of wood. I had to sort of make sure my measurements were right for the offset of the cams and that, and the foot rods. So that's the mechanism, so see if I can bring it in a bit better for you. Gives me my 2 inches of bolt travel that I wanted, and it also can rotate just past. It will have a stop built in, because so as it can come just past 90 degrees of rotation, and it gives like a deadbolt sort of effect. So it's pretty cool. So the way this works out, my centre for rotation is at 8 inches, which is measured up, and then due to the offset I put in these little what do you call them, cam arms? Con rods? Connection rods? Now, due to the offset, I've got 1 3/4 inches of offset from this edge, which is parallel to this edge. So if I put it straight up, you've got a straight line and 1 1/4 inch, 3/4 inch until you hit the centre. I don't know, would you call it centre line of rotation? Anyway, from the centre of the cam connecting point to this edge is minus 1 3/4 inches, and then on this side, due to the fact the cam steps down, it's plus 1 3/4 inches. So I'm looking at from the edge of the door inwards is 6 1/4 inches plus half an inch. So that's my 6 3/4 inches to find the centre. And then we're looking at 9 1/4 inches. Yeah, 9 1/4 inches dead centre there. 6 and 3/4 inches dead centre there. I think that's how it works. I can double check because I did it on a bit of plywood before I go drilling holes in the door. I've got to make sure that I've got a positive stop just slightly past that point, because that way it can be locked, sort of deadlock effect, that you can't do bugger all to like fiddle with it without actually unlocking it. So yeah. Whee! I've got to lift this door down now. And once this door's done, whilst the holes and locations are all the same, the functionality of the other door is a slave to this door. So one side's the master door, the other side's the slave. I think that's how you put it. So yeah, let's take this door down. So that yeah, just as well I made them light, innit? Guess who just went on Facebook and got a mag drill? This particular hole gave me quite a bit of trouble, and it was simply because the mag drill couldn't get full strength on the magnet due to there not being enough surface, like contact area. I did come up with a solution for that later on, but this hole had to be reworked as well once everything was together. Got to be an easier way than this. I wonder if this was the first, shortly after the first time I ran out of gas, or if it was the second time I ran out of gas. I think it was the first. I had so much trouble throughout this project. It's taken forever. I had over 3 weeks of me not being able to do nothing simply because I couldn't get gas. It really started to sort of bug me with this. Yeah, I also had another week at one point looking for gears for the locking mechanism. So there was a lot of time on this where I couldn't really do nothing. When I was using this mag drill yesterday, it was moving around a lot. So I thought to myself, what if I clamp a big bit of steel to it, will that stop it from kicking about? Let's have a look. Not an overly complex solution, but it definitely worked. So, I think that's a win. Shame. Okay. Oh, it's definitely got all the lab blocker still. So, I'll move that back so I can get some scribe lines. Bring you around the front so you can see this. obviously I'm not being very accurate right now, but if I had the like normal standard drill chuck, then I could pilot hole this through and then put a brooch on with a centering pin, but unfortunately I don't have the chuck, so this works good enough. Hopefully it holds on to this bit of steel really well. It's a very simple solution, and you can see in this little bit of footage that the drill hasn't moved at all. I also used the piece of steel above my head as well to drill the holes in the piece of angle iron across the top of the doors too. That's the first bolt in. I might have to put a bit of clearance on this because at the moment these are like a slip fit, like a real close fit. What I made up of camera was some little pins is going to the door, like the one down there. This is counterboard out, so as the weld on the inside face doesn't interfere and it can pass over as a spacer. And then next spacer goes over the top. There's one arm, and this will be the other one. Put them together, locks, push them apart, unlock. So we need to put a dog leg in that, make my life a bit easier. So since you last saw me, I had to rework this. I wanted to be able to lock the door from inside, just on the off chance, you know. So I fitted a little winch handle, which is pretty cool. So as you can see, look from the top and bottom. Still a bit of binding there though. Oh, this is right. I've got a, I'm hoping to get some press studs to do all these bolts, so as I've got a little bit more clearance around the back of the cams because I want to put in some stiffeners. But yeah, this is pretty cool. Got to drill these, you can't see from there, got to drill the holes down the bottom a bit deeper, but you can see it's the master, and then the slave, well the slaves, just drop out, lock in at the top, and then the top, down, that's my inside handle. 2 points in the floor here are sprung loaded pistons for locating the bolts that latch into the floor. So for my floor locating bolts, I made these up. A little bit messy. And we've got a don't know why I filled these up with copper slip, I'm sure. And we got a little springy spring in there. It's a little springy spring, it's a pretty big springy spring. A couple of O-rings around this little piston. I'm going to fill these up with grease eventually, because what I want it to do, whoops, just dropped that. What I'm wanting this to do is when it's in the ground, sort of the rods will push the spring in, and then once it's pushed down far enough it will pick up a little bit of grease around the edge. That way, much like if you're drilling out like a injector or a glow plug, any crud sits on top of the grease and then you can sort of push the piston up and it will just all the crap out of it. And that was very expensive sound effects, by the way. So yeah, two of these. Where's the other one? There's the other one. And what I've got to do is they are going to be dropped into these, like so. I've got to put some cement in them yet, and like so. And then they're going to be cemented in and sealed. And the idea will be the pistons themselves come up just slightly past the top of the cylinder. That way any dirt that comes up can just be cleared away. So yeah, they've got to be installed down there in a minute. Then both doors, I've got wire drilled in to anchor the frames to the wall whilst I welded them and positioned them and everything. The holes left behind I thought I would set up as a sort of like security bolt idea. They pick up on the holes, 3 locations each door. Probably no need for it, but you know, more is more. But the door's locked. I got locked out. In the early stages of doing this, I then spent 3 hours trying to get in, and I knew how to get in here, and it still took me 3 hours. So yeah, it's pretty secure, and even my dumb ass self got locked out. But that was due to only tack welding something up and the weld broke and disabled the lock. So yeah. So I'm going to head back inside because I think the family's waking up. It's about, I don't know, 6 in the morning. Yeah, this was the end result. This is a wheel off a lathe that we got from a blacksmith. So then push the wheel in. And that's it, locked. No drive no more to the door. Ta-da! 2 more things I want to do is I need to put some springs on these doors, because if the wind catches them, like 150 kilos and more now, they hit the walls and I think that'll do some damage. And that's it. Thanks guys for watching.